Solo Sikoa praises JC Mateo Bloodline segment. YouTube script. Solo Sikoa just delivered the most explosive Bloodline segment in WWE history, and if you think you know what happened with JC Mateo, you're about to get the shock of your life. What we witnessed wasn't just praise, it was a complete power shift that has shattered everything we thought we knew about the Bloodline hierarchy and exposed the true puppet master behind WWE's most dominant faction. The moment Solo Sikoa grabbed that microphone and started talking about JC Mateo, you could feel the entire wrestling world stop breathing. This wasn't the usual Bloodline segment we've grown accustomed to. This was a declaration of war against Roman Reigns' legacy that will change the trajectory of WWE forever. If you missed the subtle power plays and hidden meanings in that promo, you completely missed the most important wrestling segment of the year. JC Mateo understands what it means to be family. Solo's words weren't just praise, they were a direct attack on Roman Reigns' leadership and a public announcement that the Bloodline is about to get a new tribal chief whether Roman likes it or not. The disrespect was so blatant that even casual fans could see the civil war brewing within WWE's most powerful dynasty. You want to talk about shocking moments that rewrite wrestling history? Solo Sikoa didn't just praise JC Mateo, he elevated him above Roman Reigns in the family hierarchy while Roman was sitting right there powerless to stop it. The look of pure rage and betrayal on Roman's face as he watched his own cousin publicly humiliate him will be replayed for decades as the moment the Bloodline officially fractured. But here's what makes this segment absolutely infuriating for Roman supporters. Solo wasn't just expressing his opinion, he was speaking on behalf of the entire Samoan wrestling dynasty. When he said that the family acknowledges JC Mateo, he wasn't just giving personal praise, he was making an official declaration that carries the weight of generations of wrestling royalty. The strategic brilliance of this segment was absolutely mind-blowing. While everyone was focused on Roman's championship reign and his ongoing feuds, Solo was quietly building a case for why JC Mateo deserves to be the true head of the Bloodline. Every word was calculated to undermine Roman's authority while positioning Mateo as the rightful heir to the Samoan dynasty. Here's a question that's going to separate the casual fans from the wrestling intellects. Did you catch the subtle reference Solo made to blood being thicker than contracts when he was talking about JC Mateo's loyalty? The most shocking revelation came when Solo revealed that JC Mateo had been secretly meeting with other members of the Bloodline for months. While some people were worried about Hollywood appearances and part-time schedules, Solo said, clearly referencing Roman, JC was here every single day proving his commitment to this family and this business. The implication was crystal clear: Roman Reigns has been treating WWE like a side project while JC Mateo has been showing the dedication and respect that the Bloodline demands from its leaders. Solo wasn't just praising Mateo's work ethic, he was destroying Roman's credibility as a leader who puts personal interests above family loyalty. But the most devastating moment came when Solo revealed what JC Mateo had said during those private family meetings. JC told us that being tribal chief isn't about wearing fancy suits and cutting Hollywood deals, it's about sacrifice, it's about putting the family first, it's about earning respect through actions instead of demanding it through birthright. Every single word was a nuclear bomb aimed directly at Roman Reigns' leadership style. Solo wasn't just quoting JC Mateo, he was using Mateo's words to systematically dismantle everything Roman represents as the tribal chief. The personal nature of these attacks made it clear that this wasn't just business, this was family warfare at its most brutal. The crowd's reaction to Solo's praise of JC Mateo was absolutely electric. You could hear the shift in energy as fans realized they were witnessing something historic, the public coronation of a new Bloodline leader happening right in front of their eyes. The cheers for Mateo's name grew louder with each mention, while Roman sat in stunned silence. Quick question for the Bloodline experts: how many times did Solo mention respect when talking about JC Mateo compared to how many times he used that word when referring to Roman during the same segment? But here's where this segment gets really controversial. Solo's praise of JC Mateo wasn't just about wrestling ability or family loyalty, it was about authenticity. JC doesn't need to remind people who he is every 5 minutes, Solo declared. He doesn't need catchphrases or entrance music to make people acknowledge him, his presence speaks for itself. The shots at Roman's signature phrases and theatrical presentation were so obvious that even Roman's biggest supporters couldn't deny what they were hearing. Solo was basically saying that JC Mateo possesses natural leadership qualities that Roman has to artificially manufacture through gimmicks and repetitive promos. The most infuriating aspect of this entire segment was how powerless Roman looked while his own cousin systematically destroyed his reputation. This is supposed to be the tribal chief, the head of the table, the undisputed leader of the Bloodline, and he sat there like a chastised child while Solo publicly questioned his authority. The body language during this segment told the real story. While Solo was animated and passionate when discussing JC Mateo's qualities, his entire demeanor changed when he had to acknowledge Roman's presence. The contrast was so stark that blind viewers could have sensed the tension and disrespect. But the most shocking moment came when Solo revealed that JC Mateo had actually been training other members of the Bloodline behind Roman's back. JC has been sharing knowledge, teaching technique, helping family members improve their craft, Solo announced. That's what real leadership looks like, building others up instead of keeping them down. The implication that Roman has been holding back other bloodline members to protect his own position was absolutely devastating. Solo wasn't just praising JC Mateo's mentorship, he was exposing Roman as a selfish leader who prioritizes personal success over family development. Here's another question for the wrestling psychologists: do you think Solo's public praise of JC Mateo was planned as part of a larger storyline, or was this a legitimate expression of frustration with Roman's leadership that got captured on camera? The historical context of this segment makes it even more significant. The Samoan wrestling dynasty has always been built on respect, tradition, and family unity, but Solo's words suggest that Roman has violated all of these core principles. When he said, JC Mateo represents what the bloodline used to stand for, he was essentially saying that Roman has corrupted the family legacy. The most emotional moment came when Solo talked about JC Mateo's connection to the younger generation of Samoan wrestlers. The kids in the islands don't want to be like the current tribal chief, Solo revealed, his voice heavy with disappointment. They want to be like JC Mateo because he shows them that success doesn't require arrogance or entitlement. The revelation that Roman has lost the respect of the next generation of Samoan wrestlers was absolutely brutal. This isn't just about current family dynamics, this is about the future of the entire wrestling dynasty and who will carry the legacy forward. But perhaps the most controversial statement came when Solo suggested that JC Mateo would be a better champion than Roman. Championships don't make you a leader, Solo declared. Leadership makes you worthy of championships, and JC has shown leadership qualities that some people can only dream of possessing. The indirect shot at Roman's championship reign was so obvious that commentary struggled to address it. Solo was basically saying that Roman's title runs have been based on family connections rather than genuine leadership ability, while JC Mateo possesses natural qualities that make him more deserving of those accolades. The timing of this segment was absolutely perfect from a strategic standpoint. Just when Roman thought his position as tribal chief was secure, just when he believed his family was unified behind him, Solo delivered this public praise of a potential rival that undermined everything Roman has built. Here's a question for the long-term storyline analysts: do you think this segment is setting up JC Mateo as Roman's eventual replacement as tribal chief, or is Solo testing the waters to see how fans and family members react to the idea? The social media reaction to this segment has been absolutely explosive. Wrestling fans are dissecting every word, every gesture, every subtle implication of Solo's praise for JC Mateo. The hashtag new tribal chief has been trending worldwide as fans debate whether they're witnessing the beginning of a power transition. But the most telling reaction has come from other members of the bloodline who have remained suspiciously silent about Solo's comments. The lack of public support for Roman from his own family members speaks volumes about the internal dynamics and growing dissatisfaction with his leadership. The backstage reports following this segment paint a picture of complete chaos within the bloodline power structure. Sources suggest that heated arguments broke out immediately after the cameras stopped rolling, with Roman demanding explanations and Solo refusing to back down from his statements. The most disturbing detail from these backstage reports is that other family members apparently sided with Solo during the confrontation. Multiple sources confirm that Roman found himself isolated and defensive while the rest of the bloodline expressed agreement with Solo's assessment of JC Mateo's qualities. The long-term implications of this segment are staggering. If JC Mateo truly has the support of the bloodline hierarchy, if Solo was speaking for the family rather than just himself, then Roman's days as tribal chief may be numbered. This could be the beginning of the most dramatic power shift in modern WWE history. Here's a final question for the bloodline loyalists: after hearing Solo's passionate praise of JC Mateo, do you still believe Roman Reigns deserves to be called the tribal chief, or is it time for new leadership in the bloodline? The investigation into the true motivations behind Solo's segment reveals a pattern of growing dissatisfaction with Roman's leadership that goes back months. Family meetings, private conversations, and behind-the-scenes tensions have apparently been building toward this public confrontation for much longer than anyone realized. The most shocking discovery is that JC Mateo apparently never asked for this public endorsement. According to sources close to the situation, Mateo was as surprised as everyone else when Solo decided to publicly praise him during such a high-profile segment. This suggests that Solo's comments were motivated by genuine conviction rather than political maneuvering. The authenticity of Solo's emotions during this segment adds credibility to every criticism he leveled against Roman's leadership. This wasn't scripted corporate messaging, this was a family member expressing genuine frustration and offering a vision of what the bloodline could become under different leadership. But perhaps the most important aspect of this entire situation is what it reveals about the current state of WWE's most dominant faction. The cracks in the bloodline's unity have been exposed, the leadership structure has been challenged, and the future direction of the family dynasty is now completely uncertain. The praise Solo Sikoa gave to JC Mateo wasn't just a segment, it was a revolution that could reshape the entire landscape of WWE programming. Whether this leads to internal warfare, leadership changes, or a complete restructuring of the bloodline remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again.